the song White and Nerdy, Weird Al Yankovic wears a fanny pack, shops at the Gap, has a pocket protector, and his name is on his underwear. He wants to fit in with the gangsters, but doesn't have the right clothes. We recognize nerds because they're the ones without the brand names, without the $100 shoes and designer jeans. The things you need to climb up the social hierarchy. Theorist Alicia Quart discusses this brand name popularity dominated in the teen films of the 90s. In Cinema of the In Crowd, she said, in movies such as Clueless, Bring It On, and Legally Blonde, belonging to the popular group requires a knowledge and taste aligned with consumer culture. Fashion trends are a secret code of the popular kids. They recognize their own clothes and accessories of the minute. So the nerd is someone who doesn't buy the latest fashion. So what? Is that a reason for social exclusion? As Dick Hedbidge said, the invention of the teenager is intimately bound up with the creation of a youth market. We didn't have teenagers until we had a teen market in the 1950s. Consumer culture defines what a teenager is. In the 1950s, the same time this market emerged along with the word teenager, the nerd was born. A teenager is, by definition, someone who buys cool and trendy things. A nerd is something else entirely. So the youth market, by telling teens what is cool, could be telling them who is not cool. If consumerism is the key to popularity, how might a nerd find its way into the popular crowd? Another description of nerd exclusion comes from case studies done by Paul Willis. Willis didn't use the term nerd, but he studied students in two different groups, the lads and the ear-olls. The lads were working class folk who dismissed schoolwork and looked forward to their futures in the factory, and the ear-olls were the nerdy conformists who sucked up to authority and believed, perhaps naively, that success in school would lead them to later success in life. As Willis says, the division between conformism and nonconformism is experienced as a division between different kinds of future, different kinds of gratification, and different kinds of jobs that are relevant to these things. So the battle between nerds and lads is a class struggle. It's a rebellion against an elite with different values and a different culture. There is a logic to transgression, Hedbidge says. He's right. Teenagers, often ignored and disrespected by the adult world, are given attention only during moments of rebellion. The revolt against authority, then, is essential to recognition and development of a sense in a self in a world that is struggling to limit, define, and set rules for the young. To these rebellious youths, what is a nerd? The nerd is a friend of authority. He raises his hand when the teacher asks a question. The school rewards him and his parents with bumper stickers that say, "My child is an honor student." So if teenage identity develops in opposition to authority, then it's also in opposition to the nerd. Of course, that's the perspective of the teen rebel. What about the teenage nerd? The nerd can be seen in this drama as rebelling against his peers. To an isolated adolescent, it's the peers, not the teachers, who are the authority figures. The popular kids hold power over his acceptance into the school hierarchy. By aligning himself with the teen enemy, he's rebelling against an enduring social order. The nerd is the rebel. Of course, there are other reasons to be a nerd: parental pressure, yearning for knowledge, personal ethics, and perhaps poor social awareness. But as we shall see later, the nerd rebel has made frequent appearances in popular culture since the 1980s. What do the people in our survey say about why nerds are unpopular? The most common responses relate to a lack of social abilities. Nerds are uncool by definition. They do not participate in popular culture, either through choice or willful inability, because their intelligence so greatly exceeds their social skills. Social ineptness. And as one 16-year-old girl said, because they are not charismatic and social. In my experience, it is normally their fault for not having as many friends as they do. But in our modern world, what does the word social really mean? A teenager who spends night and day locked in a room with a computer can still play online games with others, make friends in New Zealand, keep up to date with the latest books, music, and information, make millions of dollars in internet business, chat online with his Canadian girlfriend. The internet has changed the definition of friendship and social literacy. If a kid has no friends in school and 3,000 on Facebook, do we call him unsocial or post-social? Does he have a warped view of friendship or a new variety of it? This is meetup.com. Groups of people are online hoping to find friends in the area with similar interests. You can go to events and meet other fans of comic books, classic literature, even Satanism. Or you can make your own group, and people will come to you. Looking for love? Match.com, eHarmony.com. You can find friendship, romance, random sexual encounters independent of the long remaining social hierarchies of the classroom. For better or for worse, the internet has subverted social order, and in this classroom, the nerds are in charge. Now that we have a sense of what a nerd is and why he's excluded, let's take a journey through 30 years of popular culture, see how his role has changed over time. We're going to begin our journey in 1978, when personal computing was in its infancy. Although there were exemplary nerds before this time, such as Jerry Lewis in the 1963 film The Nutty Professor, the nerd was typically an ancillary character before computers started appearing in homes.